what should I do to prepare for our quarterly meeting or any sort of operations review that you might have. So whether you're running a business operating system like the entrepreneurial operating system, or Pinnacle Guides has their system, Scaling Up has their system. And some companies don't run a system per se. They just keep an operating rhythm, a healthy operating rhythm where they're reviewing things on a quarterly basis. And the question comes up, well, what do I need to bring up? Do I just show up? And the problem I hear from CEOs, leaders, and founders is, we're not really solving meaningful problems, or I don't really know what to do to make sure that we're getting the most from this and keeping our goals and things front and center. And unfortunately, sometimes we're just not getting things done. We're not really tackling meaningful problems. And so if you've ever been in one of those meetings where people just kind of show up and everybody nods and tries to just kind of do things so that they can get by without pissing anybody off and just feel good about the day, but they're not actually really working on the business, so you've got festering problems that aren't getting solved. If you've ever been in one of those types of meetings, this is a great exercise for you and for all your teammates. The mistakes I see people make going into these is they don't prepare, they don't really stop and reflect, or they think that it's going to take so long to get it done, they keep putting it off, not realizing that this can actually be a very simple process. This can be a process that in 10 minutes, you can have yourself set up and really make things move for you. People show up and they don't really take ownership. They're just showing up to check the box. They're not actually engaged in getting meaningful results for the business and using the time effectively as a team. So one of the best things we can do is look in the mirror. How are we showing up? How do we want to be present in this meeting, and what's our intention for it? If your intention is showing up, making things better, being a good teammate, good leader, and making sure the team is elevating, this is a very simple practice that you can run. It doesn't need to be a big, difficult deep dive. It can be as simple as answering a few questions and getting your mind clear on what's gone on over the last 90 days. The great news is we've got a 10-minute exercise that can get that to happen very easily. All it takes to get you from stuck to unstuck and showing up and taking ownership in this meeting is 10 minutes. So if you're ready, we'll go through it step by step. So 2025 Q1, you can put your company name, whatever you like. And we're going to answer some very, very simple questions here. All it takes to get the ball rolling is to make visible a few simple things. What progress and wins have we made over the last 90 days? And I'll talk about those a little more in a minute. What are our learnings in terms of the things we've tried and experimented with? That's our second thing right here. What are the beliefs that we had at the beginning, and how have those changed? What are the beliefs we have now? So that we're tracking those things intentionally and we're being good leaders, making those beliefs visible. And now we can look at what challenges and issues do we need to think about overcoming so we can set our goals for the 90 days ahead. And so we can take action to move the most impactful blockers and issues out of our way. Finally, we're going to think through the resources we have available to us to do those. And like I said, this process takes 10 minutes. If it takes 15, you've just invested 15 minutes in really making sure that you show up and take ownership and make the most of your quarterly meetings. And even if you're not in any form of quarterly meeting, you're going to make an impact on the next 90 days because you're becoming intentional about it. So the first thing you want to look at is, what was your top priority over this last 90 days and how did it go? Simple question. You don't have to deep dive on it. Just make notes on that. Then what are 3 wins or 3 things that you're excited about from this past quarter? It's totally fine if you're on a roll and 5 or 10 things come out. That's great. But if you catch yourself umming like that, if you get 2 or 3 things down and then you start going, let me think, just stop and move on to the next section, because we want to keep some momentum. We want to keep this from becoming a burden. This is just a process of getting knowledge you have out of your brain into a visible form so that you can use it more effectively. Sometimes just getting things out of our brain and visible to us really unlocks our superpowers. So once you get that in place, we'll move over to learnings. There's a practice called start, stop, continue that a lot of coaches like to use. I always think of that in terms of the learnings that we're getting from the last 90 days. And I like to do them in a slightly different order. I like to do them from continue, meaning what are the things that worked well that we should continue? things that you put in place for the first time this quarter, or just things that you've done habitually as a process or as a system that have worked well in this past quarter, and you want to make sure you continue those and maybe even double down on them. List those in this box. What didn't work well over this last quarter? This is sort of the opposite question. What are the things you tried and they didn't work, and you're going to stop them? Now, there's an extra credit exercise you can do. You can actually go into these items in a little more detail. Why didn't they work, and think through them? But that's really not necessary. And too often I see that slow people down. So for now, just keep that list here. Don't worry so much about the why. Just decide which things you're going to stop doing. Finally, what things are you going to start doing in the quarter ahead? You've looked at what you're going to keep doing. You've looked at what you're going to stop doing. What is it time to start so that you can accelerate your path toward your goals? And some of that may change based on the goals that are actually set. Right now, we're just looking backwards and reflecting. Awesome. So once that's filled out, we'll go to the next page, and we're still thinking about learnings, and there's two categories we'll look at in terms of the beliefs we've held. The first category is, what beliefs did I have about the marketplace or our company, maybe the world in general, at the beginning of the quarter that are holding true? They're proving themselves to be correct. I'm able to use those beliefs to take a stand as a leader and get things done in a great way. And conversely, what beliefs did I have about the state of the market or our company that proved incorrect? As a leader, if I'm paying attention to those things, it makes it very easy for me to take my ego out of the equation and just say, hey, I thought that this was the case, but the evidence of what I'm seeing is wrong. That's a good, solid scientific principle. So there's no harm in writing that down. And in fact, it's a very healthy, positive thing that I find too often leaders aren't doing. Now that we've listed that, what are the challenges and issues that may be getting in the way? Are there unknowns? Are there things you don't understand yet? Is there a problem that seems to be coming up habitually that's causing you frustration or blocking your progress? Especially if you don't already have those captured somewhere, like in ResultMaps on your weekly sync or level 10 meeting agenda, or in your long-term issues list, or somewhere that you've captured it. Great place to mark it down, or even just reinforce it if you've got a couple things that just roll off the top of the mind that you can write down or type in here. With those in place, we're now going to shift. We've looked at our progress, we've looked at what we've learned, and we've thought through where there may be a little bit of friction. Now we're going to ask ourselves, what resources do we have available to us? Who could help or mentor me? Are there people you could reach out to that have faced the challenge before? Or are there big name figures or people you admire that you want to model what they did? Are there books or trainings or practices that might benefit you? List those things as well. That's the entire exercise. There's goal setting activities you can do. There's analysis in more detail you can do. I find often we've been immersed in things. The knowledge of a lot of what we need to do is already there. This helps bring it out of you. When you can see it on the page and prep, this can really help you show up with clarity, with intention, and show up prepared, because you may find that some of the resources that are there for you may be more data that you want to collect. Maybe you need to go back and look at how you've executed, or some of the business analytics that you have available. Maybe that's going to help you show up to your quarterly meeting or make some better decisions moving ahead. This is all about making good decisions as a leader. This is all about taking a good leadership stand and saying, here's what I believe, here's where I think we need to go next, and then reflecting on a regular basis. It's not so much a heavy lift as it is understanding that there are simple steps we can take to get the ball rolling and to just get it done. So I hope this is helpful, guys. You can get more resources like this at ResultMaps.com. Follow us on the socials, like and subscribe. Make sure you go download this and be the leader you came here to be the entrepreneur, the business owner, the teammate you came here to be. That's it for this time, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.